sloppy. I mean, all of you see that, but when it's recorded, everyone's like, oh, that was so smooth. All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Educator Spotlight series. Thank you for joining us. We're happy to have you here. And already we've got somebody saying good afternoon, everybody. And so my first thing, I'm going to introduce myself and what we're doing, and then I'm going to have a question for you. But my first question, our statement is, today's guest I have with me is Jody Snyder. She is an English language arts and senior capstone teacher at Godfrey High School here in Kent County. And she and I have only met a few years ago at a design thinking seminar, I believe. Just want to let you know right now you're muted, which is probably the way it should be, just so we reduce any background noise. But later, when we have the Q&A time, if you want to unmute yourself, you are welcome to do that. Or if you feel more comfortable throwing things into the chat, that works fine as well. It's a pretty informal once we get to those Q&A. If you have questions at any point during the event, don't wait, just put them in the chat and we'll get to them at some point. Real quick, go ahead and put in the chat box and tell us if this is your first time attending or if you're a repeat attender. You don't have to, if you know it's your second or third, you can say that, but let us know if this is your first time or you're a repeat attender. Not offender, attender. So, okay, great. So we got a couple of first time people, great. No pressure, Jody, but that just means you're gonna have to be on your game, right? That also means probably some people were really interested in hearing this the first time presenting, all right. So the goal of today's event is to help educators to share best practices for integrating career readiness into instruction in meaningful and practical ways. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is I work in career readiness, and I've got a chance over the past several years to talk with and work with some great educators in Kent County and even beyond who are doing some great things to build career thinking mindsets into instruction. And others are saying, like, you know, I'd really like to do it, but I don't know where to start. Well, if we have these conversations, my hope is that you get a chance to watch them. Like, I love that idea. I would love to do that. Or that's not so hard. I can do that myself. One teacher was a partner. She was a guest with me one time. She goes, when I asked her to do a session, she's like, oh, Eric, I don't really have anything special that I do. You know, I don't really know that people would want to watch or participate in that. And I said, but what you're doing, not everybody's doing. And it might not be rocket science, but some people just don't think about it. Other people think it would be too tough to do. It doesn't have to be rocket science. It's just different perspectives and different ideas. And sometimes that's all we need is to say, like, oh, wow, I think I can do that. If I didn't introduce myself, my name is Eric Kelleher. I am a career readiness consultant with Kent ISD. Just to let you know, this session is being recorded. And if you're out here and you were signed up to get sketches, please stick all the way to the very end, and I will give you a 6-digit code at the end so that you can use that and put that and fill that out to fill out the survey, and that will help you get your sketch because we definitely value the feedback, especially with this virtual format. All right, so some basic session norms. Again, keep yourself muted when you're listening, but please feel free to not only show your face on screen, because it really helps us to know that people are there, paying attention, listening. And again, share your voice when it's time, or use the chat feature at any point. Be an active participant, contribute to the discussion, raise your hand, use the chat, whatever, but ask lots of questions. I will always come up with plenty of questions, but I'd much rather hear yours and allow you to have your questions answered by Jody. And keep your screen on when possible. I just mentioned that. And finally, for the future, log in with whatever your first and last name is when you registered. I only say that because sometimes I get some very funky names. And I'm like, I do not know who that is. And I'm trying to match that up to give the people sketches. And I don't know who Hot Mama Bear at Gmail is. I'm sorry. And if you said, well, you should know by looking at me, I apologize. All right. So once again, I'm going to welcome everybody and welcome our guest, Jody Snyder, with Godfrey Lee High School. I did put her email address up there. And if afterwards you're like, that was fantastic, I need to follow with Jody, just rest assured, reach out to me and we'll make sure we get you her email address, but it is jsnyder1@godfrey-lee.org. Do I have that right? Because you have a couple of different email addresses.
Yes, that is the correct one.
Okay, all right. And today's topic is capstone projects to demonstrate career readiness. Well, with that, I'm going to stop and welcome you, Jody. How are you today?
I am doing well. Thank you, Eric, for having me. Appreciate it.
No, we definitely got a lot of people signed up for this. So I think they're very interested in the topic. And with that, I'm going to turn over to you. And when we're done, we'll just have a discussion.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. First of all, I want to start out by saying that senior capstone has been around a long time for our school district, and I think I need to start at the beginning for historical purposes. So we started in the early 2000s, trying to think of a way to help our students focus on life beyond high school, career readiness. Not only career readiness, but any kind of life. So military, technical, career, college. So that was our focus. We found a local school, Sparta at the time, that had all kinds of capstone projects that ended their senior year. We thought it was pretty interesting, so we decided to start it here. I decided that we need to start small, baby steps. So we started with a paper researching where they're going, what they wanted to do, why they wanted to do it, interviewing people. And then each year we've added a component. So probably since 2005 or 6, we've added a piece each year. I will, if I have time, show you what happened in the last 2 years, 2021. Yeah, the last 2 years with Capstone. But it's gone from a paper with no class to now a small paper, mentor interviews, and a capstone project that they present on capstone night at the end of the 3rd trimester, so in May. We've gotten really good feedback. I've gotten students who have taken their capstone project and they have used it to start a career, to get employment. I had a student come up to one time and thank me for capstone, even though it was a huge waste of time because he did the capstone, hated what he chose so much, even though he thought it was his passion in life, that he totally took a different route in college. He thought he wanted to be a psychologist, and now he is a published author. So maybe, I don't know if they're not that far off, but it's interesting to see where students go with this. So that's the history of senior capstone. Catherine is here because she will probably be taking us over after retire. My last year will be next year. And because this is my passion, I needed to find someone who can carry this on. And I want to see this grow even more. And I think Eric and I talked about that, and I won't bring that up yet, Eric, but this needs to be more than just senior capstone their senior year. And I needed to bring in someone that would be able to do that, and Catherine could do that. On that note, I want to share my screen with my capstone site. Can you all see that? Okay. So this is the home. My bit.ly is LHS Capstone, all capitals. So that takes you right to the past capstone exhibitions, actually, but you can go right to the home. What is Senior Capstone? It's a trimester-long research exploration course where students explore a future career of interest. This course is designed so that students can utilize the skills honed from their high school experience thus far and apply these skills to design a path towards their future goals. So throughout the trimester, they research their career of interest, they create a professional website, they contact and interview mentors in their career field, and they connect their personal goals to the community by creating a community service project. And that has turned into the biggest change that we have done in the last, since the beginning of Capstone. What we want is their passion to be connected to some kind of service project, something they can give back, something they can offer. All of those components come together during their final presentations where students showcase the work they've done over the trimester. We have a mission statement. Senior Capstone is designed to prepare and educate students for past and higher education, vocational training, and the military. The course provides seniors with several culminating experiences while preparing them for graduation. So we understand that not all of our students go into higher education. We understand that a lot of them will go into a career they may have already chosen. A lot of our kids love mechanics and construction. They go to KCTC, our local district educational programs. So military, we have students that are passionate about military. Anything they are interested in beyond high school, they can focus on. We have no limitations. Well, there are some, but I'm sure you can figure those out. So we have goals. I won't read those out to you. This website, just so you know, is put out to everyone. So that's why you're seeing it with our contact information here. We even have a little Twitter there. So the Capstone Experience, you have your research paper, your exhibition, which is the night show. Well, this year it'll be in the afternoon. Your course information, your senior hours, and their calendar. Since, as I said, everything's connected here. So it starts off with a research paper. We kind of ease them in. They come up with a project proposal. We ask them, most kids come in with some kind of passion. If they do not, we actually start off with giving them some kind of career tests, interest inventories. And I have never in all these years not been able to guide a student in some kind of pathway, some kind of career pathway. We always are able to handle that, not an issue. So here is our research paper overview. We really want them to really focus in, to do some research, to understand what they're getting into. And it's not a paper on the career itself. It is not. It's just to study a component. So if they want to go into business, we have them whittle it down to maybe entrepreneurship and opening their own business. And then maybe it could be how a business owner gives back to a specific community, and then they do that kind of research. So that is the paper. And then their exhibition is this year, May 13th. They present 4 different times. We hold it in the entire district. We have classrooms, we have our gym, we have our OAC, we have our media center set up. Our judges come in to watch these presentations, and we feed them and we give them drinks, and we make sure it's worth their while when they come in. Just so you know, we've had judges that are community members, former students, staff. We have them, state representatives have come in. We've had mayors. We've had a lot of different people that have been judges for these presentations. So that's that piece. And then the course information here, I have it laid out. They have course contract in English and Spanish. They have their mentor interviews. I find this to be, we've really pushed this because they need to learn how to network. Our students are struggling with this, and even more so after the first couple of years, because they haven't had a chance to network. They have been kind of sitting in their home. They only go to job or school. And now more than ever, we need to show them how to interview, how to reach out. Last year, I made sure I found a couple former students that are HR, and they Zoomed in and they gave them some really good goals in life on how to handle interviewing and networking and resumes. They were amazing. So I highly recommend, if you start this program, you really start finding those mentors. Sometimes it's really hard, and Eric can vouch for that, to find people in specific areas like plumbing and mechanics. For some reason have been very, very difficult. So they have to ask questions. This is more for us, absences. They have to have senior service hours. That doesn't matter. I also actually put in a calendar for our students. So I have it linked here. So if you jump in, you'll be able to see all our expectations laid out right in a row. In the news, I had this section in because we've had School News Network come in a couple times. Seniors Culminate School Experience with Career Presentations, and Capstone courses open doors from paleontology to embalming. This group of kids really went above and beyond. The paleontology, she actually went on excavation with this professor. In embalming, that student ended up getting a job through them after following them and interning with them. This shows exactly what we have done over the years. So if you go all the way down, I started with Capstone 2014, and we have pictures, 2015, 2016. This is when we had it all in two big rooms here at Lee High School or in classrooms. 2017, 2018, there's actually a video on YouTube if you're interested in seeing that. 2019 also we did a video, and that was the last normal year for us. So the class of 2021 and 2020, they ended up having to present remotely. The odd one is this one. This is the one I keep up at the top. 2020, they had to do everything from home. They had to do the research, they had to reach out to mentors, and that was really difficult because no one was in the mood to talk about anything but COVID that time. So our seniors had to do everything from their home. If you look at some of the videos these kids put up on YouTube, there are dogs, there are parents, there are little sisters. They did what the best they could with what they had. 2021, last year was a little better. We offered them to come into school and they could present, or they could do it from home. That was a little chaotic. Catherine can vouch for that, but we did the best we could again. this year, I'm so grateful that we are able to have it again here. We're going to space them out the best we can. And we will do this live on May 13th, and we'll have a ton of people in. I also, because it is really difficult for them with mentors, I try to call as many mentors as we can. So if you know someone, there's the form there. We ask for anything from email, phone, job showing if possible, interviews, internships. We give a mentor list to our students. And we also have resources. So if you're interested in this, we've developed a wish list, which we've gotten a couple things off of, which has been really nice on Amazon for Capstone. We have project ideas for our kids. So you may look at this list to see if something sparks an interest for your community work issue, and there's a list of projects there for our students. We do the course resources, which right here, I didn't check those today, so I will check those before we start class in March, but these are the tests we give our students. We give them research resources. We actually have our librarian, our specialist, he meets with our students and he guides them through the whole research process, which is nice. And then they develop their own Weebly or Google site, and we ask that to be as professional as possible. We want to put their resume on it, their presentation, their papers. They share that with their panel of judges. Some of them have told me they've continued to use this after high school, so that's been nice that they've utilized it. We have put in service community ideas and resources, so that's something that we're working with them. We actually, just yesterday, I had someone come to me and ask if someone was interested in business. They wanted them to learn how to do inventory specialties, kind of a focus on inventory. So someone who's interested in business and starting their own business, the realities. And they were going to give them an entire presentation they could do on May 13th. We give them their 18 hours and they would do a hands-on with this person. So that was pretty amazing that is out there for them. And then the last thing we offer is we do opportunities for employment and volunteering. So that is something I continually add to as we go on, and that'll be updated here soon. So on that note, when I talk about Capstone with people, I cannot tell you the benefits for our students. They've been phenomenal. We get a lot of whining at first, like why? And it's okay for them to ask why, but I tell them why, because this is your future. This is your chance to really dig deep into something you may be interested in. And I always tell them have a plan A and a plan B. So we've had kids that say they really want to go into athletics. They want to be a professional football player. I'm like, okay, that's great. But what are you giving back? And what's another focus area that can be connected to it? So we have kids, oh yeah, like what could I do after I play professional football? And oh, I want to be an athletic trainer. Great, awesome. Talk about being a professional football player, but then really do that research on being an athletic trainer, because that may be your plan B after you're done, hopefully, having your dreams come true. And this is developed over years of talking with other teachers, staff members, community members, professors in college. So I've had complete 100% support from administration. I don't think I've ever had an issue. They give me money every year for Capstone. I don't know if anyone's interested. If you are, I can tell you kind of what we spend our money on. But you don't need money for this. You just need to be open-minded that these kids need this. Last warning is that if you do this, you need to make kids understand that this will be miserable for you if you choose an easy thing as opposed to what you really are interested in, what you really think you may want to do after high school. So that's my last little thing I want to say about that. Eric, I'm at 153. I didn't know if we have anything so far.
Sorry, I was looking for my mouse there. No, we're doing great. We have about 35 to 40 minutes. So we already got about 10, 15 minutes left. So that was fantastic. So I was sorry that if you saw me with my head down, I was scribbling, writing down notes and questions. one of the first things, and I saved it because I was trying to be really careful not to blurt it out, but man, right at the beginning, one of the things that stood out to me was that, I'm paraphrasing what you said, just get started. You said you've been doing this for several years, but it started off as a research paper and not much of a, a class. And now it is a class and very little bit on the research. And that's just the kind of the beginning to kick it off. So what I would say is a lesson or what I heard as a lesson learned is just get started with it. It's going to morph and it's going to adapt. Don't worry about not getting it. I have a tendency to want it to be perfect right away and doing a lot of planning to try to get it just right, as opposed to getting started and then adapting. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. I almost forgot to mention that we have also allowed students to work together on their projects if they're components of it. So if you have a someone who wants to go into to be a doctor and someone who wants to be an LPN, they work together to come up with some kind of service project. That's an option as well.
Awesome.
But
and
yeah,
I love
Eric,
go ahead. What was that?
No, I agree with what you just said. Just get started. You don't need to have the whole thing ready.
Awesome. And I see questions. And by the way, I have mine, but mine comes secondary to yours. So if you have questions, by all means, this is a place where at this point now, if you want to, you can unmute yourself and ask questions. Otherwise, throw them in the chat. So Candace said she has some questions and they're in the midst of their very first capstone year. Fantastic. So Candace, what kind of questions do you have? If you want to throw them in the chat, you can, or just unmute yourself and share.
Okay, well, it's like my Zoom skills have paled now that we're back in person. Thank you, Jody, so much. Yes, we're in the midst of it, and we frame it sort of as like a design cycle. So they've done like design cycle projects in the past, and now it's like this year-long project. But it can be related to their future career, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. So we've got like they run the gamut, and I've got a few that just chose something too easy and now they're tapering off. So I think framing that from the jump is probably key. But I guess I'm wondering like how many days a week do they spend in school on this? Like, is it a full hour? Is it every other day? And then any tips for like keeping them motivated? And I think we're kind of like we're building the plane as we fly it. So like, we're starting to see all the things we should have done and we'll do differently next year. But I guess just keeping the motivation going, and how many face-to-face hours do they get during the week?
So good question. First of all, it's third trimester completely. It's a class. It's required for graduation for our board. So I think this year it's every single senior. We only exempted 5 kids who are almost full-time in GRCC, so they didn't have to do this. But all of our kids know this is coming. They've all talked about it. They've come to previous ones. They've watched previous capstones. So they've come in, even though it's just the last third trimester of their senior year, they're pretty much 80 to 90% know what they're going to do and what's going to happen. So schedule wise, third trimester, it's every day in their third trimester. There are 3 sections. I'll be doing 2, Catherine will be doing 1 this next third trimester. What we decided to do back in 2020, that was our big year, we were going to release them 2 days a week to work on their project. So that we were going to have class Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday after the first couple of weeks of class. Monday, Friday, they were free to work outside of the classroom, wherever that may be. So we're talking about that again right now because it's like a college class. You know, you want to release them to be big kids and to, make phone calls and to go interview someone. So that was important to us. Motivation. We still have kids that, we want it to be career readiness, but what if their passion is photography, but they're not 100% sure, but they really want to focus on it? Sure, go ahead. I really make it a point to meet one-on-one with every single student, not just one time, but over the course of the trimester, because I need to make sure that they're on track. Right now, I'm wondering how this is going to go this next trimester because these kids are behind about 2 years and they're not really sure and they're a little scared and they don't want to leave school. So I feel like I have to be the big cheer coach. I am a cheer coach, but I have to be the, for academically. And I need to, sometimes I find friends or people I know that are in that area of expertise. And I say, hey, you should email my friend who is a real estate agent because, you know, maybe she could give you some advice. And I have them email or call and they're like, oh, that was really cool. So I try to find things that will connect them, that will motivate them, that will get them excited. It's exhausting at times and draining, but I haven't been 100% on it. I'll be honest. You just can't be. Sometimes you just have to let it go with certain students. But I just try to find anything, articles, news clips, other staff members. They have been amazing. I've reached out to staff members who have like construction on the side or real estate on the side, or they were nurses in their previous life. We have a military. We have a teacher down the hall. He did pharmaceutical. So I just, hey, Pete, can you talk to the student? And they help me get them motivated as well. So I use everyone around me that I can. Anyone that I know. Eric knows I have no shame. I'll reach out to anyone.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And there's a couple of things I wrote down before I forget his questions. You did have, I'm going to, oops, I just realized I was muted. Sorry, everybody, I was muted.
Okay.
No, great points. And I just remembered there's a bit.ly that you share. Oh, you already shared it with everybody. I just see now. So that's your bit.ly to the course. So I think Jody's basically willing to let you take a look. You want to review it later. Is there a big picture syllabus on that? Like, so they walk into the trimester, they know as a from beginning to the end of the trimester, here's what you're going to do. So they know what they're walking in. Here's all the steps of it. Because obviously there has to be a little bit of autonomy in this type of a program.
Yes. So yeah, we do. Catherine and I will get that out to them. I don't put it out right away on the website because I get so many kids coming to me before class even starts like, what does this mean? What does this mean? Because they get panicky and fearful. So I will be adding a syllabus onto there probably within the next week. It'll be up there. That'll lay it all out exactly how the course will go. I mean, the calendar's on there and it has all the different dates, but it'll look prettier, I think, in the syllabus.
Gotcha. And there's more questions. By the way, we are going to end in about 10 more minutes. But if you, I don't know what your time is, Jody, I can stick on for a few more minutes for those who are like, I've got burning questions, still haven't had them all answered. So I can stick around. And of course, we'll give out Jody's email address. But one of the things I really wanted to point out, and I wanted to make sure we had time for, and Jody and I have talked about this. I love this concept. Even before I met her, I had said, like, to do career readiness correctly, to get our kids, if you've ever heard of the term profile of a career ready grad or profile of a graduate, this, like, how do we know our kids are ready for what's next, whether that's careers or college? I don't think we always know that. And if you're in Kent County, I'm actually going to be doing a training around that for those who are interested. We need to start with the end in mind. What does a career ready graduate look like, and start working backwards and start building those skills. And what I love about this class is it is trying to do that. And Jody and I both have talked about it, so she's in agreement. The one downside is when we are in districts, a lot of our districts like, oh, that's great, let's do a capstone course. And then you're doing it all as a senior. This should be something that should be built up. And I know you're in 100% agreement, but built up over a K-12 so that when you get to the capstone, it is truly that, a capstone of all the career readiness stuff you've been doing along the way. So that when you do become a senior, like, well, I have never thought about my career. No, we want them to have thought about it and like, I've got 2 or 3, now I just got to narrow it down. The other thing I would add, what I thought was really, is really interesting. You mentioned kind of, they don't have to walk away with knowing exactly what they're going to do. They can do something of interest to them. To me, this process is not about figuring out the career. It's about learning the process of how to discover what your careers and your talents and your passions are, so that if they change their mind, which kids obviously are going to do, they know how to go back to what they've been trained to do. That's what teaching is, right? Know how to go back to that and then go back to the drawing board and say, well, that's not what I was thinking it was going to be. So what do I do next? I don't know. That's just kind of my take from this, Jody, is it's not about figuring it all out. It's about learning a process that they desperately need.
Yes. And one thing our students are lacking in is knowing how to present, how to speak, how to just that confidence to be able to put themselves out there. It's very painful for some of our students. We have a lot of ELL students, and a lot of them have come back and thanked us because they appreciated that chance, the safety of a small panel of judges to just kind of practice that. So, it's more than just a project. It is everything that we put into it, writing and interviewing and networking and developing skills for their future. And, how maybe I even talked to them, I said, come back to some of these tests, if you get into college and you realize, I have no idea what I want to do, that is not what I wanted to do. So yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you're going to talk about it, Eric, but we really need this to start earlier than just 12th grade of their, the last trimester, their senior year.
Well, no, that's where our team from Kent County comes in, is like, how do we start building a plan? And I would say that you need to be starting this in elementary school, right? Candace asked, do they have a problem or key question or something to explore? Because I did mention, Candace mentioned something about starting with a design approach. So I know you have experience in design thinking, and so do I. Is it design approach, or is it more, do they already come with a couple of ideas of what they're interested in?
It can be both, actually. So I think because we did that human-centered design, we did the design thinking. So to me, it's just natural to kind of push them to what you're talking about, Candace. So we start them with the problem or the key question, the central question, and then we kind of guide them towards that direction at what you're saying. Like, what does it mean to be an X, and how do I engage in this field? How would you take this question and go to the next level? That's the goal. It is the goal. Catherine, real quick, I do want to address this because it's very important. We have a pull-out room of students, and Mr. Walker's amazing with them. What we do is I talk to Mr. Walker, their teacher, and whomever their teacher is, and we come up with a plan. So can it be by themselves in the classroom with maybe their teacher and someone they trust, a parapro? That always works, but we still want to give them that experience. I have never had a student that didn't want to in some way, even if it was debilitating, even if they were so filled with anxiety. We found a way, and we asked them. I mean, these are 17, 18, 19, some 20-year-olds. So we asked them, how can we get you to do this? What would make you feel comfortable? And we have 100% participation.
That is awesome. That's good to hear. And so just being accommodating, that sounds good. Man, I definitely, oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to pop in and say, I was actually a judge last year via Zoom, and I knew Catherine from college. And it was an amazing experience for being a judge. I really enjoyed it. And that's how I found out about your capstone project. And I just think this is amazing. And if anyone wants to be a judge this year to kind of see what it's like from that point, I highly encourage you to do it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was rough last year. I can't tell you. I was dripping with sweat. So I appreciate it that you judged for us. Yeah, if you guys are local, or if even you're not local, you want to come that day, we'll feed you. You can hang out. It'll be really fun. Super fun. You'll love it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was a judge as well. You recruited me. So you're right. You have no shame. She'll ask. So that's fine. In fact, all of you right now, just know you're on notice. You're being asked. So no, but it's great. And it's great for the kids. And let's face it, these are 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, but they're still kids. And the level of expectation of what to expect out of this is just that. But it's about the experience and the exposure for them. Man, I have a couple of more questions that I'd love to ask, but I need to wrap it up for those who have to go, because I got to try to stay within that time limit. So I'm going to share my screen again, and I can stick around for a few minutes. And if you're able to, great, Jody. And if not, I totally understand. But let me know if you see my screen. Get back up.
Yep.
Okay, good. Thank you. So I have a couple more of these still scheduled. I had tried to do one a month. Next month in March, I have 2 people from actually South Lyon Community Schools. So if you're not in the Kent County area and you're maybe an Oakland person, these are your people. So Jacqueline, Sherry, and Ann, and I am always going to butcher this name, Kuyomian. I can't remember how to pronounce it correctly, but they're going to talk. They're actually, one's an English teacher and one's a special ed, a career teacher. And they are actually going to talk about how they use the Great Gatsby, like, oh, the teacher said my kids were disconnected. They weren't getting this idea of the American dream. And so they decided to build something in around their career readiness, their EDP, and said, like, let's actually help the kids understand their dream. So kind of what Jody's doing, but from actually built in within the curriculum content. And then in April, we have some people out from Romeo High School, and they're going to talk about school within a school, or what they call the academies. It's career-driven content into breaking into different groups and industries, sectors. And then we have a couple of career chats. February is business and finance month. I know we're just wrapping up, but I think we have a career chat this afternoon. And then March is going to be broken up with hospitality and tourism. And if you are a counselor and you've been in these in the past, or maybe you're not hearing about them for the first time, or you're a teacher or an administrator and you're interested in, we have a career readiness network, and we have 2 more from scheduled. Our next one is in March 23rd. It's about a 3-hour session. You get like 2.75 sketches, but we're gonna actually have a military focus. So if you're like, oh, I'm looking to get those military sketches, this will be an opportunity to at least get one of those sketches around the military, and they're gonna come in and share with us. And we break it up over like 5 different segments to keep mixing it up and moving it along. If you have been to these a couple of times, like this is a great experience, and I'm willing to share some, whether you're a teacher, a counselor, administrator, it doesn't matter. Hey, I'm happy to share some of the things I'm doing in career readiness, or you're going to nominate somebody, whether they know it or not, and you're going to put them on this list. Go ahead and send it to bit.ly/spotlight guest. I'm always looking for new guests, and we'll try to load up for next year. So I would love to have anybody who would like to share what they're doing with others. And then finally, this is important, and I will go ahead and put this in the chat in a few minutes, so just bear with me. If you need to get the sketch for today, then you'll want to go to bit.ly/ESS for Educator Spotlight Series -sketch 2021-22. Note that it's 2021-22, not 2021-2022. And then you'll need the 6-digit code 273968. And again, I will put that in the chat in just a moment. bit.ly/ESS-sketch 2021-22, and then 273968. My name is Eric Kelleher. My email address is written below. You can find out some more about our information and resources at kentisd.org/career readiness. And it is 2:10. I'm trying to get out of here on time for those, because I said 35 to 40 minutes, but I'll stick around for a few minutes. If you're able to, Jody, even just for a couple, if there's any additional questions, feel free to stick around. Otherwise, I will post those links to the sketch in the chat in just a second, and you are welcome to go. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
And have a great, Jody, thank
I'm
you.
staying. I'm sticking around. Yeah, I'm sticking around.
Yes. And thank you, Catherine, for also joining, and everybody for participating. We appreciate your time and your energies on this. Thanks so much.